Building a 100K per month coaching business, I know feels daunting. I know feels overwhelming, especially when you have never done it. And in fact, when you're thinking about 100K per month, you think about how can I handle all the clients? How can I handle all the leads? Like, what do I have to do? Do I have to do a lot of different things? And one of the most common challenges, one of the most common areas people think about when they're trying to scale and grow to 100K per month when it comes to their coaching business is I got to do paid ads. I've got to do something that I've never done before. But today, what I want to show you is I want to show you exactly how you can actually scale your coaching business to 100K per month without paid ads. Now, don't be wrong. This doesn't mean that you're never going to use paid ads. You're never going to want to use paid ads. What it is, though, is the understanding that you don't simply just have to throw out everything and start something brand new. Because understanding what paid ads really is at its core, it's a mechanism to get you in front of people. That's really what it comes down to. And you're using a very specific resource, whether you're doing it on Facebook, whether you're doing it on Google. At the end of the day, you're simply taking a dollar and you're putting it out there so people can see it. What's great about it is very simply, it doesn't require a lot of personal energy to do it. So there's a lot of benefits to it from that perspective. But there is something that also happens. If you don't dial in the right algorithm, if you don't dial in the right lookalike audiences, if you don't understand that mechanism, how it works, because the audience that sees a paid ad is very different than the audience that sees content, it's going to be a much harder and quite frankly, a much more difficult sales process. So right now, if you are a coach and you're making 5K, 10K, 20K, you're in this process of actually learning your sales process, kind of dialing in how you take somebody who either knows you very little or doesn't know you and turns them into a client. That sales process changes dramatically when you start doing paid ads. We don't want to do that. We want to take what you're doing great right now and we want to be able to help you explode it so that you can get in front of more people and, quite frankly, get yourself in a way that is going to help you soar to those levels without having to drive your expenses off. Because the reality is this, most of us, when it comes to building a coaching business, don't want to just build a coaching business that we have to spend a lot more money to make a lot of more money. We want to make more money and also keep as much of it as we possibly can. So we're going to talk a lot about that today. I don't want to dismiss some things. We're going to really focus on the very front portion of a paid ad and where that would be replaced in your world, okay? But I want you to understand that a lot of times when I bring a client in, I'll actually talk about these three specific areas first. I'll talk about what their offer currently looks like and find a way to either increase the price or to make sure that we're actually structuring it in a way that's going to make it easier for them to get more yeses. We're going to structure the delivery so they can work with more clients or work with more premium clients. And then last but certainly not least, we would talk with them about actually how you take that client and keep working with them either more of a membership style, upgrade style, or for years and years to come. These things are vital. They are vital when it comes to actually revenue generation. So when we talk about this idea of 100K per month, well, I'm not going to go deep into that today. I want you to understand that is a core piece of the process. But where paid ads comes from is in this front section, right? It's in front of the traffic section. It's in front of the lead generation section. What we're trying to understand is that very simply, we are trying to get ourselves in front of more and more of our ideal audience. And that's really where paid ads has, quite frankly, a hold on so many coaches' mindsets. But today, I actually want us to think about it very differently. And the way that I have a lot of coaches that will come my world, they'll be like, Alex, I don't have the money to spend on paid ads. I don't want to be putting $5,000 or $10,000 per month down on paid ads. I want to find something that's going to help me sell more clients, keep more money, but quite frankly, help me do it in a way that I have got the time and energy, or I've got a staff that can help me. How would I do that? So we're going to actually start by creating a little bit of a paradigm shift for you. And that paradigm shift is very simply on the front end of the business. So instead of thinking about this idea that I want to kind of create this lead generation process or this traffic generation process, what I want you to understand is that we are actually going to play the real estate game, or what I call mental real estate. I want you to think about, as a coach, where we really come in and where our genius and where our talent and where we shine is not just in this idea of like, hey, I'm going to give you a free lead magnet. Where we shine is simply being leaders. Every freaking one of you is a born leader. And at the end of the day, what that means is that we want to basically say, this is a very specific area, a very specific place I want to basically share, network, connect, and most importantly, invite. so that people that are in that space know who I am, know who you are. If you think about it from that way, what it does is it actually changes how you start to run your business from a lead generation and traffic source perspective. Instead of you sitting there and saying, okay, what post do I have to do today? You're going to think about, hey, who are the people I need to meet that can help me collab and come up with different leverage opportunities? You're going to start thinking about the content I create is going to be generating them to move to a different direction. And last but certainly least, when we're talking about these people, are saying like, what do I want to invite them to so they can have an incredible and start of a building relationship with me? And that's where we begin. You'll notice that we've got this beautiful little cylinder here that's kind of going full circle. When anybody is talking about this idea of saying, Alex, I want to grow my business without paid ads, I say, great. We need to dial in these three things, okay? The first thing we need to do is we need to help you come up with your collab strategy. And a collab strategy could be a referral, could be a strategic partnership, it could be an affiliate style. But at the end of the day, we really need to dial that in so you have your world that's going to bring in warmer, more interested clients in your world on a sustainable place. If you just follow the typical referral pattern, you'll find that a lot of times it's simply like, I can't rely on that. I can't get enough leads. It's kind of goes in and out. But there's a much easier systematic way of doing it. And for most people, they aren't even getting the 80% rule right, which is what I'm going to talk to you about today. The second is you got to dial in your content. So if you're going to play this online game and you're not going to do it without ads, great. You need to dial in your content. The best part about it when it comes to a content strategy is that you don't need to be creating this incredibly beautiful over the top. You can even see this video here, right? It's not the most beautiful thing. It's in my office. I got my wood background. I got my whiteboard. It doesn't have to be the most beautiful content, but it's got to be very relevant. It's got to be very powerful, and it's got to be very transformative content. And it's got to be dialed into the person that you want to serve. And last but certainly not least, you got to have a connection strategy. You got to have a way to reach out to people, whether it's through direct messages, whether it's through emails, whether it's through some sort of team, but ultimately you have to create a simple way for people to say yes and or no. The reason people don't like this is because when we think about it, it's like, oh, I don't want to get rejected. I don't want to get told no, or I don't want to be sleazy. I don't want to feel like I'm sliding into people's DMs. But there's a very easy way. I'm going to show you at the end of the video how you actually are going to structure that invitation. So it's so simple. It feels so authentic. And at the end of the day, for so many people, they're going to go like, wow, like even if they say no, they're going to have a great relationship with you. And I'll tell you why that's important when all is said and done. Now, first and foremost, if you don't have that person dialed in, that's going to be a problem. So make sure you go ahead and watch one of my former YouTube videos there that actually talks about how you dial in your person without having to niche. It's a very interesting thing. It talks about the psychology of how people buy, and it's a really powerful video if you want to not, quote unquote, just feel like you sound like the typical coach where it says, I help this to do this to so and so this, right? We don't want to sound like a niche. We don't want to sound like a robot. We want to sound like a leader. And I show you how to do that with a very simple commitment formula, okay? But once you dial that in, you have to think about this person of what they are going to do in your world. And they're going to do and quite frankly, they're already doing these three things. The first is that who do they follow? Who are the people that they are already, quote unquote, researching? The hint is not just in your field, but outside your field. The second is, what are they reading? What kind of content are they reading right now? And then last but certainly not least, what are they interested in saying yes to? Where do they want to go? Where are they hanging out? Where are they actually going and to learn what it is that people like you do? Are they doing it through books? Are they doing it through, big reports? Are they doing it through live events? Okay. What is it that they're doing? And from there, we build our entire collab strategy to start meeting these people and coming up with relationships. We start writing that content that is relevant, and we finally start creating a very simple invitation message, okay? And there's kind of these three words that we're trying to think about. One is that we want to make it easy for our collabs to make them come into our world. Could be an email sequence, could be a simple invitation, could be just something saying like, hey, this is what I offer. And it's an easy thing for them to say, hey, you should go talk to this person. You want your content to be clear. Clear is better than creative. Almost always when it comes to clients buying something, it's better for them to know what it is that you do as opposed to figuring out what exactly it is that you do. And last but certainly not least, when you connect, you want to make it as easy as possible for them to say yes and possibly to say no. How do we do that? What we do is we create what we call a potent experience. And a potent experience is that experience where somebody goes, wow, I have a goal, I have a problem, and I have a very specific deadline. And you're literally just giving them that as exactly as it sounds. What is the goal you're solving? What is the problem? Excuse me, what is the goal you're achieving? What is the problem you're solving? And last is what's the deadline or timeline that you want them to be able to do that? In that training, you have to cover three very specific things and three things that you're trying to either educate with them or transform for them. The first is their mindset. How are they thinking about their goal? How are they thinking about their problem? How are they thinking about their timeline? Can you change their mindset very quickly? Number two, can you give them a strategy that makes them confident the goal, problem, and timeline can be met? And last but certainly not least, simplicity that makes it feel doable and makes it feel possible and makes it feel achievable and makes them feel like I can actually do this there with myself or just with a little bit of help or AKA help with you. If you dial these two things in your world, it becomes so much easier to get more idea, interested, excited clients into your world. As I promised you, I want to show you a very simple technique. I'm going to go to my other whiteboard here, but this idea of inviting people, this idea of inviting people to come talk with you, it gets a little bit scary for people because there is this part where a lot of us will get hit with messages. I mean, probably right now, all of us could go to our LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. We have somebody that's selling something to us or promoting something to us. And what I want to tell you is that yes, there are a lot of people that are doing it, but there's a lot of people that are doing it very, very, very poorly. They're just not doing great with it. And so I want to show you actually a very simple way to do it that's going to help you and start to kind of get you into a framework of exactly how to start communicating this, regardless of how you want to do it. So the first is what I recommend is I recommend that you do this through either video. If you don't want to do video, then do audio. And if you really don't want to do it, then basically do it through text. The reason why I kind of say go in this order is because when you do things through video, one of the things you already do from a real estate perspective, as I was talking about before, is they get to see your face. Listen, if you're a coach, you're going to be working with them, whether it's a group call, whether it's a one-on-one call, whether it's a mastermind or retreat, they're going to have an interaction with you. And I say this with so much compassion that people want to see you. They want to hear from you. They want to get to know you. And that can be through video. That can be through speaking just like this. Like if you're watching this video right now, you and I are building a bond, just like they're going to be doing the same thing with you. So do not be afraid to put yourself out there. Have a bad hair day, have a pimple on your nose, whatever it is. Understand that, listen, we are all human and that the best clients that we have will accept you for your greatness and also for your vulnerability. Okay. So please make sure you do that. Okay. The second thing, obviously, is audio. They get to hear your voice. And then third, of course, is text. But ultimately, understand this: if they see you and hear you, it's way more powerful than just hearing from you, which is still way more powerful than just from reading from you. So my advice for you is that you can do this. And this is the way I would do it if I was you personally. Now, ultimately, on a message, you have to cover these four parts. Okay. The first is personal recognition. Now, if you're really automating this, this would just go down to recognition, but you can personally recognize people. Like, well, can you get to 100K per month doing this? I have businesses that are getting to $1 million per month doing this. Okay. People want to be seen, heard, appreciated. Okay. Can you look at their social media profile for literally 10 seconds and look at something and recognize them for it immediately? Say something that really is just genuine. It doesn't have to be anything like really like just grotesque or over the top. It could just simply be like, hey, I like your red hat on that recent post. Like something that actually feels personal. Then you're going to say very quickly what you would like them to do. So if you want them to come to a webinar, if you want them to come to your next masterclass, if you want them to sit down and have a 30-minute strategy session, just be frank, be very clear, be very direct. Okay. Now, the third part's really important. Okay. You're asking them a question. You're going to explain why and the value you see for them. So let me give you an example. If you go in there and say, hey, if I come to you and I came to your feed or I came into your DM and I said, hey, I'd like for you to come to my free training that's going to be talking to coaches on how to build a 100K per month coaching business without paid ads. Would you like to come? You immediately, even if it's directly what it is that you want to do, you're going to go, well, why? Why should I come? What is the value in it? What is in it for me? Can you see what I'm doing? So you have to very specifically say to them why you see its value for them and what you think it could do for them. You may have to take a shot. Intuitiveness is also part of the game. So take a shot. And last but certainly not least, you got to give them the option of say no or yes. So by saying the options of no or yes, you just very simply end it saying, listen, it's okay to say no. It's okay to say I'm not really interested, and that's okay. I'm only going to cry a little bit. But you can just take my telling it. It's okay. It is okay to say no. But if you want to learn this skill in a non-sleazy, non-salesy way, I'd love for you to come. But you'll notice here is that what a lot of people do is they will kind of almost feel like they're trapping the person. All of our best clients want the freedom of choice. When we have the freedom of choice and the person isn't putting any pressure on us, especially at this stage of the game, they're either going to want to do one of two things a lot of times. They'll say no, they'll say no, but if we're more like, oh no, thanks, I'm not interested, I appreciate you. Or, or it's gonna be, if it's not a yes, it's gonna be, can you tell me more about it? Can you explain more about it? And that conversation allows you to start a dialogue where you can obviously, of course, get more people on that call, more people to your training, and ultimately get your coaching business to where you want to go. If you like this video, go ahead and subscribe below. But I want to ask you a question before you wrap up today, okay? If you're really looking to build that 100K per month coaching business without paid ads, I would love to know in the comments below, what did you learn from this video today that you want to start implementing? My name is Alex Kuhn, founder of Born to Lead. As I always tell everyone, truly be you and stay committed.